So got a little bit of a test stream. This is a Sunday stream early today. I wanted people to get a little look at the brunch situation here. This is the Brooklyn Bagel Cafe. They want you to text 33733. It's very close to Joe Biden's favorite number. But we got brunch on the street. We got a line outside the bagel place. It was kind of a sad brunch there. First weekend of fall. But I wanted to let everybody know that Steele v. Goodman, which I have said for 3 years has been a fake lawsuit, has been dismissed. Now, people who are promoting this lawsuit as, was going to be my destruction or whatever, there were a lot of social engineers and dopes who made videos and websites and tracking the lawsuit, whatever that website is called. You know, people have these alleged news websites tracking these things. All a bunch of nonsense. Good morning, everyone. Quite curious to hear what I have to say. Well, Latina for Trump. You know, I've noticed you communicating and mingling with some of the people that are definitely social engineers. So, Latina for Trump, email me your phone number so I can make sure I know who you are. You've said some things that have caused me to question your motives. Now, I'm going to be starting a new series this week, and it's going to take viewers deep inside Robert David Steele's anti-speech strategy, because that's what this lawsuit was. It was a strategic lawsuit against public participation, which basically means you're just bringing a lawsuit to get somebody to shut up. A lot of people know it's expensive and time-consuming to deal with lawsuits, so if someone's doing something that you don't like or saying something that you don't like, even if it's true, you can bring a lawsuit against them, and even if what you allege in the lawsuit is totally false, there are strategic ways that lawsuit can be used to shut somebody down who you don't like. That's happened to me a lot. And so this series that I'm going to do, I'm finally able to do it. I wanted to speak about this lawsuit for 3 years, but obviously people know how I feel about skateboards on the sidewalk. Obviously, just talking about it publicly when you are still in the midst of litigation, it can present certain problems. Certainly, you know, judges don't necessarily like it, depending on what you say. And I want people to be clear. It's this new series that's going to describe the anti-speech strategy and the tactics that were used by Robert David Steele and his really objectionable attorney, Stephen Scott Biss. Same guy who's representing Devin Nunes in all of his idiotic lawsuits against Twitter. Devin Nunes cow, all kinds of lawsuits. People have asked me on Twitter, I think it was Latina for Trump, asked me what my problem is with Devin Nunes. My problem with Devin Nunes is that he was the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, and he did a great job running around and getting on Fox News and writing memos and stuff, but he did not succeed in, preventing the impeachment, which wasted a ton of time. And moreover, he failed to identify what is coming out now. I mean, Devin Nunes, I hope you're watching this, he's an absolute idiot at best. Because why would someone who's in Congress and who was the chairman of the House Select Committee on Intelligence and is now the ranking member of that committee, a committee that is supposed to oversee the intelligence services of this country that protect us from foreign agents trying to really damage us. You'd want the sharpest, smartest minds, people who could spot a scam from a mile away. I don't want an idiot who's going to hire an ethically challenged attorney to take up a fight against Twitter that they have virtually no chance of winning. And anybody who thinks that Devin Nunes suing Twitter is somehow helping conservatives who are being censored in social media is absolutely wrong. The primary problem with Devin Nunes suing Twitter is that if he wins, which he won't, he personally gets money, and Stephen Biss gets money just for doing the lawsuit. It's an abuse. That guy looked shocked that I wasn't wearing a mask, and he seems like he wants to say something. I'm outside. You don't need to wear a mask. It's not the law to wear a mask. Stay 6 feet away from people and you're fine. But Devin Nunes, he's bringing a lawsuit that will benefit him personally, and he has the unique position of being a member of Congress who could introduce legislation that would protect us all. What he's doing is selfish, showboating, totally ineffective, and just basically funneling money to Stephen Biss. We're going to talk a lot about Stephen Biss, not to disparage these guys, but it's important that the public knows when people who operate public charities that have 501c3 tax exemption, they don't pay tax. That means your tax dollars offset the operation of their business. So if they're doing anything inappropriate with it, like the Clinton Foundation does, we all have a right to know as taxpayers. Definitely people who watched Crowdsource the Truth. What was it, June 13th, June 14th, 2017, when Robert David Steele came on this show with George Webb. He's another one we're going to talk about a lot in this series. Came on the show. A lot of people gave money to his charity. 501c3s and their principals are not allowed to engage in partisan political activity. They are specifically barred from advocating for or against a political candidate. So all these times that Robert David Steele says that President Trump should have Cynthia McKinney be his vice presidential candidate, in my estimation, in my understanding of the statutes, the IRS codes, that's a violation. And this all started when I initially told everybody, don't try to take a tax write-off because there could be tax fraud going on here. So we're going to go into real depth. And it's going to be a sponsor-exclusive show for a couple reasons. First of all, this is a very specific topic that not everybody is going to be interested in, although I think it is going to be useful information for everyone. I'm not going to give out legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I was able to defeat Stephen Biss, who went to Princeton. How the hell did he get into Princeton? Unbelievable. But yeah, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm certainly not qualified to give people legal advice, and I wouldn't advise someone to do or not do anything. But I want to share my experience so that people can understand what happened, people can understand the allegations that I, accuse these guys of. I'm being careful right now because we see what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to bring this case back. It's important people understand this case was dismissed, okay? And it was dismissed. Anyone can read the judge's order. And when we begin this series on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, I'm going to go through every single one of the pleadings. I'm going to make those available. People will be able to download them, link to all the videos, 3-year-old videos, interviews with Queen Tut. If you don't know who some of these people are, Patricia Negron. If you haven't been watching Crowdsource the Truth since the beginning, you might not know some of these names, but you are going to be astounded, I think. The methods, the tactics, other lawsuits that Stephen Biss has been involved in. This has got to do with Field McConnell. If people have heard of this guy, Timothy Homseth. Timothy Homseth was represented by Stephen Scott Biss. Timothy Homseth was closely associated with Field McConnell just before and up until the time Field went to jail. Represented by Stephen Biss. Timothy Homseth is such a bum and a loser. He does his live streams from the parking lot of Wendy's so he can get free Wi-Fi because he doesn't even have a data plan on a cell phone or something like that. How does Devin Nunes, a guy who's been in Congress for years, a guy whose family owns a cattle ranch or a dairy farm or whatever they've got, this is a guy with money. Why would he hire a lawyer with such an alarmingly poor history of ethical violations? Stephen Biss, we've discussed, lost his legal license. Well, I should say it was suspended in 2009 or 2010 for his participation in a $21 million escrow fraud. Do you realize if you or I were principally involved in a $21 million fraud, we would go to jail for a super long time, and this guy just lost his law license for a year and then continued to practice law while the license was suspended? Lost it again. Federal Judge William Pauley, I think his name is, said Stephen Biss is not suitable. He's not fit to practice law. According to the judge, he's been admonished by, I think, 4 or 5 judges in the Eastern District of Virginia. We're going to go over all of that. We're going to read the transcript. I bought these transcripts. That's the other reason why this show is going to be on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, because the goal of this lawsuit was to drain me of resources. Initially, I think their hope was that I would hire a lawyer and go broke, and that I would have to stop doing Crowdsource the Truth. That, make no mistake, that was the goal of the lawsuit the whole time, to terminate Crowdsource the Truth. So if you enjoy Crowdsource the Truth, even if you're not a sponsor right now, the best way you can counteract this type of lawfare is to become a sponsor. You can do that on crowdsourcethetruth.com. People can sponsor the Counterlawfare Fund, or you could become a monthly sponsor on Subscribestar or Patreon. You can also go to paypal.me/crowdsourcethetruth, and you could sponsor for any amount, $1, $1,000, whatever. I encourage people to sponsor for low amounts, an amount of money that will not have a financial impact on you. Now, wait a minute. What was this that's closed now? Going to be out with Charles in a little while doing our usual Sunday walk. It's actually heating up. It was pretty overcast earlier today. Look at that. 6.4 liter Charger, or what is this? Is this one of these? There's like a 700 horsepower one. But yeah, so that was their goal, was to got a sale going on here. Their goal was to financially ruin me. And so to counteract that, the show is going to be a sponsor exclusive show. I need to recuperate my costs. Although I didn't hire a lawyer, I still had to go a couple $1,000, travel, hotel, train tickets. I had to rent a car the second time because of COVID. I didn't want to ride on the train. Oh, well, no, it wasn't because of COVID. It was because of COVID. They canceled the number of trains traveling between New York and Virginia. I would have had to stay there for 2 days in order to be able to take the train, and then I would have run up the bill on the hotel. I had to buy a laser printer, scan things, print tons of things, toner, you know, FedExing things, mailing things, filing things, you know, and there's so many really objectionable things that were done during this the course of this legal action that people are going to hear about. It's important that people understand what Stephen Biss did, what Robert David Steele did. I'm not going to disparage these guys. I'm not going to say they're idiots. I'm not going to say they're unscrupulous. I'm not going to call them assholes. What's the point in doing that? I'm going to share facts with people. And this is mostly going to be stuff that you could, if you have a Pacer account, this is public information. You could download it and read all that stuff, but I think it's going to be more interesting for people to hear me go through it. A lot of nuance to what happened. You know, what's written on the page is not necessarily reflective of what was said. There were several hearings. I'm going to give my insights into the judge's reactions and give my insights into how Robert David Steele reacted in court when I revealed that Susan Lutsky is Susan Holmes. There was an aggressive effort by the plaintiffs to cover up the identity of Susan Holmes, Queen Tut. Why? Why did they do that? We're going to go into detail on that. They tried to make it look like I was doing something to Patricia Negron, to force this poor single mother to have to hire an attorney. That was all bullshit. We're going to talk about her role in this. We're going to talk about all these different people, because it's important for the public to know. And again, it's not going to be legal advice, but I want people to understand how these types of predatory lawyers and people who think they can use these strategic lawsuits against members of the public, you know, this could have been a real dangerous situation for me had it been handled in another way. Let's see what the comments are saying. Booty Juice says, I never liked RDS ever since the first time I saw him on Alex Jones' show. Well, remember, Robert David Steele told Alex Jones, we believe that NASA has a colony of children on Mars. He said that. And that came up in court. The judge accused me of, you know, claiming that Robert David Steele said that and considered that kind of like a conspiracy theory, but he said it. It was in the Washington Post that it was in, you know, CNN. NASA had to come out with a statement saying that that was not true. Other people have sent me comments, in their opinion, that was done to try to jam up Alex Jones. That quote was attributed to Alex Jones, wrongly attributed to Alex Jones, and I agree. I think that Robert David Steele, he's up to a lot of things. People are asking in the chat if I found out if Robert David Steele had actually worked for the CIA. I mean, we never got to depositions, so I never got to ask him that, but that's the type of thing that he would refuse to answer on the basis that it's a national security thing, and there are specific laws that even the CIA wouldn't answer that. This is why I've always said, in my opinion, it's far more likely that that's a lie. Anyone could claim that they worked for the CIA, and the CIA will never confirm or deny that, so it's kind of the perfect con, if someone were a con man, to tell you that. There are other things that Robert David Steele has claimed that can't be confirmed or denied. He claimed to have been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. The evidence that I saw indicated that he nominated himself. Manny Grossman is telling me here in the chat that no Durham indictments. I can't say I'm surprised by that, but we'll talk about that and other things with Charles. This was just a little test right here because I've come out today to test a new phone. People who were watching last week saw when I spoke with that Black Lives Matter. It was not a protest. It was an unlawful assembly, blocking the street, not permitted, harassing the public, intimidating people. Anyway, people might have seen that one of the supporters of that nonsense smacked my phone and it went flying and it cracked the lens. So I'm on my way to the Rossman Repair Group. People who watch Louis Rossman may know that he's got a repair shop. I took a bit of a roundabout walk to it because I wanted to explain all this stuff to everybody, but I'm going to take the phone in to be repaired there because I have a certain need for an older model iPhone that has both analog and digital audio input, and also they're less expensive than buying new ones that get smacked to the ground. So going to be getting that fixed, and just wanted to let everybody know that this new series will be starting later this week. So please get on to crowdsourcethetruth.com, sponsor the Counterlawfare Fund, become a sponsor on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I think I might have passed it. I think he's further back that way. Yeah. Or no, maybe he's right over there, past 5th Avenue. I don't know. I should have looked up the address before I left. I know he's on 27th Street here. I think it's back the other way. But we'll be out later. Right, people who watch Louis, it's funny because I mean his YouTube channel I first found, he's repairing computers on the board level, and he's run into a lot of pushback from Apple. They don't want him to be able to do that. I agree, you should be able to do that. I used to do that with video cameras when I was building a 3D camera. Sometimes, you know, a $12 resistor can be replaced and soldered to a circuit board that would cost hundreds of dollars. You know what, I think it's back this way. So it can be a great way, particularly if you have a computer motherboard and a laptop or something like that that's very expensive, if one little tiny surface mount component gets screwed up. RR liked Trish. Yeah, you might not feel that way after you hear some of the things that went down in this lawsuit. It's interesting that all of these people, well, not all, but an alarming number of them were introduced to me by George Webb. And, you know, there's ongoing lawsuits from, what's that guy's name again? The Bog. Yeah, we call him the brother of George. That guy won't relent. People should just think to themselves for a second, what is up with YouTube weirdos who are seemingly adults that should have other things occupying their time and attention, but just spend every day for the past 3 years making websites about me, videos about me? It's bizarre. Just one fake allegation after the next, one fake lawsuit after the next. And now, of course, there's this Emmys lawsuit happening. That's going to be the next bit of drama. That's another good reason for people to sponsor the Counterlawfare fund on crowdsourcethetruth.com, because see, what the Emmys have done is they've decided to sue my corporation. And they did that because I can't defend a corporation pro se in New York. I defeated Robert David Steele defending myself pro se, no lawyer. I don't think they expected me to do that. I might have to look up Lewis's address. 141 West 27th, thank you. Yeah, okay, so I was going the right way. It's further down this way. Right? No, 29. No, it's this way. 49. So wait a minute. Hey, I've never been in there before, so thank you for that. Whoever just said, T. Jordan, thank you for sending that. Operation Mockingbird. That's right, Manny. We're going to talk about Operation Mockingbird. I'm going to be very curious to take discovery in the Emmys case, because we might learn a lot about who may or may not have been involved in Operation Mockingbird. There are some weird demands that might be brought to people's attention. I think it's going to be very educational. You know, people who are interested in the law, people who have been sued before, people who are concerned about getting sued. I think you're going to learn a lot. And again, the sponsorship, it's going to help me recuperate the thousands of dollars that I spent defending this thing. And not to mention, you know, the hours that I stayed awake. I mean, that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to use up my financial resources. They wanted to stress me out. We're going to go into detail about the emails that were sent around among some of the people who alleged that I had a conspiracy theory. I had evidence of an actual conspiracy. It's so interesting when people use that term, conspiracy theory. I think most people know that that's a pejorative. You know, it's like a throwaway word that means basically nothing. And when somebody can't counter your facts or doesn't have a brain sufficient to formulate a sensible argument, they just call you a conspiracy theory. See you. Thank you very much. That's a kind comment there. Yeah, we'll be on at 3 p.m. with Charles. Don't miss that. Sunday with Charles. We got a good episode today. More information about Chelsea Clinton, the Clinton Foundation. I mean, we just had stories coming out, I think earlier today, that Durham, did I say Huber before? Durham is apparently investigating the Clinton Foundation now, but if there's no indictments, that's not good. There's some questions here. Real weird putts, I agree. Eats poorly. Yeah, I can't wait until that catches up with him. Okay, I think we're getting close to the Rossman Repair Group here. Going to take in the phone, see if they can replace the lens. They're supposed to be open from 12 to 4 on Sunday. Here's 103. So I'll be back at 3 with Charles. Where's David Seaman? Chicky Rogue. He's going to come into this as well. I had a phone conversation with David Seaman. I believe he lied as well. David Seaman was represented by Stephen Biss. He put out a series of videos where he was saying that Stephen Biss worked for the Clintons. That's not true. Either David Seaman is a terrible journalist, smoking too much pot, or he deliberately put out that disinformation. Stephen Biss represented Paula Jones in Clinton v. Jones. Or I should say, he worked on the team that represented Paula Jones. I don't understand how he could have gotten through Princeton. My impression is he is a remarkably unintelligent man. Look, more of these eyeballs with the pyramid. Where is Rossman Repair? I think I see the awning down there. Let's see, any other questions from the comments here? Interesting. Seaman is a limited hangout. I agree with that. Whatever happened from anything that he did? He just screamed a lot about John Podesta and nothing happened. And then he went away. And he was represented by Stephen Biss. And I had a real weird phone call with him. Okay, here we are, right outside the place. So we're going to end the stream right here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please share this video. Please like this video, subscribe if you aren't subscribed, subscribe to Crowdsource the Truth 2, the backup channel on YouTube, because, you know, the Emmys have shut down. Is there flickering on this image? The Emmys have shut down the Jason Goodman YouTube channel, so this live stream is coming to you right now on Crowdsource the Truth 2, and you know, we're gonna dig into all of these slap lawsuits. Yeah, Biden 30330, right? Yes, the I, Karen. David Seaman did do a lot of Pizzagate stuff, but then he sort of disappeared and nothing happened. And when I spoke to him, he was just incredibly weird. I'll get into detail on that when we start the Robert David Steele's anti-speech strategy show. I think there's flickering on this camera. Anyway, have a great afternoon, everybody. I'll see you at 3 o'clock when I'm back with Charles. Don't miss Sunday with Charles. Thanks for watching.